Talk about a crusher. Yes! Oh!
Are you kidding me?
And gone!
Welcome back to the Schoolyard Sports podcast. I'm the host of this podcast, Lane Frank. We're now episode 119. It's our 119 episodes through, and I got action-packed episode planned for you. NBA playoffs just started, play-in, finishing up, all that great stuff going on in the NBA. John Ram just won the Masters, college basketball, bunch of news, NFL too, as with the draft coming up later this month. Stay tuned for action-packed episode 119. Let's hop into it. Let's start episode 119, how we always do, with our headlines in the NBA. On my NBA awards show coming up later on the episode. Obviously, the NBA play-in started off. Lakers took down the Timberwolves. Heat lost to the Hawks. That's what's going on in the play-in right now, time of this recording. Mavericks got knocked out of the playoff race. Kind of crazy right there. Knocked out of the play-in race as well. Kind of tough for Mark Cuban and the squad. Kyrie Irving, really bad for them. Zion Williamson, obviously same with him. He says, when Zion feels like Zion, Zion will play. That's basically what he said. When I feel like Zion, I'll play. Well, this team needs you. When you're on the team, when they were playing with Zion Williamson this year, they were a top 3 seed. Regardless of anything, they were a top 3 seed. They could have been this year's Sacramento Kings if Zion Williamson played the second half of the season. That didn't even happen. He didn't even come close to it. Hasn't played since January 2nd. It's becoming a recurring thing. I don't think the Pelicans like it. I don't think Zion likes it. I don't think anybody likes it at all. It's not good for the NBA to have your marquee player, could be your marquee player after the LeBron era, after this big era. Zion could have been that. I don't know if he can anymore with all these injuries. Let's move to NFL with an interesting week. Saquon Barkley announced today that he will not sign his franchise tag. A little bit interesting right there. Let's see how that goes, Johnson, the rest of the offseason. They really prioritize Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley, so that could be an issue right there. Lamar Jackson, really just in the gray area right now. Same with Aaron Rodgers, in that gray area. We don't really know what's going on. Devin White requested his trade at Tampa Bay. He says, all right, Tom Brady's gone. Let's see what we're going to get. Oh, we're going to go get Baker Mayfield? Yeah, I'm out of this place. Get me out of here. Devin White, maybe contract issues, other things. He wants out of Tampa Bay. Jeff Okudah, former top 3 overall pick, 2020 NFL draft, says, I'm going to go get traded to Atlanta. Detroit Lions got rid of Jeff Okudah. I don't think he really fit that Dan Campbell system at all. He can still land on his feet in the league. Really had a tough first 3 years. You could say COVID year, first year, that's a tough year for everybody in the NFL. Next year, same thing. And then last year, obviously some issues. So Jeff Okudah on his way to the Atlanta Falcons. Let me know your thoughts on that move. So we're to college basketball week. Interesting week. It's kind of the week where you get to see guys declaring, transferring. So we saw Hunter Dickinson transfer out of Michigan, a few other guys transferring. Maybe Deron Holmes. I reported that in the Schoolyard Sports Twitter. Deron Holmes, Dayton Ford, could be looking to enter the transfer portal. Posted that. Mackenzie Mgbako, former 5-star at Duke. He said, give me out my LOI. I'm going to go to a different school. Decommit from Duke. Can't really do that when you're signed. He kind of did that right there, so Duke will release him of it. He's going to go over to a different school. Didn't really sign scholarship papers, everything like that. When Kyle Filipowski, Duke's star player at ECC freshman year, announced that he was coming back to school, Mackenzie Mgbako says, hey, I'm going to get out of this recruiting class. I'm going to go to a different school. Your thoughts on that in the comment section. That's part of the headlines this week. Now, take of the week. This week's take of the week. It's an interesting one. I want to talk about an issue in the NBA that's been an issue in the NBA for years now. Load management. You say, why are you bringing up load management now? We're in the playoffs. There's going to be no more load management. Here's why. You think of the top teams in the West seeding-wise. It's the Kings, the Denver Nuggets, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Those are the top 3 seeds. When you think of who's the best teams in the West, regardless of seeding, you think of the Phoenix Suns, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Lakers, these championship teams. Suns made the finals in 2021. Warriors won it last year. Lakers won it 2 years ago. So that's what we think of right there when you think of the best teams in the West. When you think of the East, the best teams in the East are the top teams, the Sixers, the Celtics, the Bucks. Why is it different in the East than the West? Because I think it's been a thing in the NBA for years that the West is better than the East. That's why they got rid of All-Star games, because the West is just better than the East. That's why they got rid of conferences in All-Star games. That's why it's player drafting now. I think it's still like that. But there's a difference. The East doesn't rest their players. For the West, you got all the big stars in the NBA. You have LeBron James. You have Stephen Curry. You have Kawhi Leonard. You have all these guys, and they use load management. That's what's the issue right here. I think the Los Angeles Lakers in 2021, the year after they won the championship, they could have had another championship around that year if they didn't have so many injuries and they didn't put themselves in a horrible situation as the 7th seed. They could have made the finals if they were a better seed. They made the playoffs as a 7th seed, but they were a horrible seed because of low management, LeBron injury, a bunch of other issues. That's why I think the issue is right here. I don't see the Denver Nuggets, Memphis Grizzlies, or Sacramento Kings title contenders. I consider the Suns, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Warriors as title contenders, but it's tough to get through that. That's the issue right here with the NBA, load management, and then same for the East. Top teams in the East are the top seeds. They don't rest players. Differences like that in the West. That's my thoughts. That's about for Take of the Week. All right, let's do our weekly top 5, everybody. This week's top 5 is my top 5 NBA playoff hot takes entering the playoffs out of the play-in. Let's hop into it. Number 5, the Golden State Warriors will sweep the Sacramento Kings. The 6-3 matchup that we all love. Not really, but still an interesting matchup. In the East, it's Nets versus Sixers. That'll be a good matchup. And in the West, we got the Golden State Warriors, reigning champions, going up against Sacramento Kings, a team who hadn't made the playoffs in the past 15 years up until the season. You know I'm picking that one. No shade, Sacramento Kings. You had a great year. I think talent-wise, clutch-wise, the Golden State Warriors are more superior, way more superior than the Sacramento Kings. This isn't even close for me. Warriors sweep the Kings. That's number 5 to advance to the Western Conference semifinals. Number 4, the Knicks get a series win against Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's go. Knicks made the playoffs 2021. They lost to Atlanta Hawks in 5 games. I think they turned the tables this time. Sorry, Donovan Mitchell. Sorry, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. This team is dynasty potential. Cleveland Cavaliers. If they can do something in the playoffs this year, which I don't think they will, I think they'll lose to the New York Knicks. If they can do something in the playoffs this year, that's a great step for you. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley for years to come. No debate about it. Though, Knicks do beat the Cavaliers this one. More focus on the Knicks right here. Julius Randle, we don't know if he's going to be back from injury, but Jalen Brunson, just what a free agent signing. Obviously, that hurt the Mavericks so much and obviously helped the Knicks out so much. I think the Knicks could still attack a player like Damian Lillard in the offseason. Trade up RJ Barrett, who really didn't have a great season when people expected him to, for Damian Lillard, for a guy like that, though. Knicks, move on to the Eastern Conference semifinals. That's a hot take. Number 4. Number 3, the Lakers beat the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm taking upsets in the West. You want to know why? The best teams in the West are the teams that are seeded lower. There we go right there. Lakers beat the Grizzlies 7-2 upset. Number 2, hot take. The Suns win the Western Conference. I think they do. I think they win it over the Golden State Warriors. And the Sixers also win the Eastern Conference. That's going to be interesting because Sixers are going to have to go through the Bucks, the Celtics. But I think when you think about it, Joel Embiid is the most dominant player in the NBA when he's on. You see it the other night against Boston Celtics. They win that game 103-97. Joel Embiid is 50 points in that game. You can't stop him. James Harden could be the most dominant guard in the NBA when he wants to be. I love this right here. I think the Sixers make the NBA Finals, and of the Phoenix Suns, you have so much talent in the court. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. I think that can surpass a team like the Golden State Warriors. Now, finally, number 1. Who wins the NBA championship? My 2023 NBA championship pick is my preseason pick. The Philadelphia 76ers. I picked them in the preseason. I'm sticking out with it. Let's roll with it. Philadelphia 76ers win the championship. Big win right here for Doc Rivers. Joel Embiid's career as a superstar, Hall of Famer, James Harden getting a ring. Love this right here. That's about for top 5 this week. Now, did you know, this week's Did You Know is, did you know Tampa Bay Rays are off to the best start in the past 30 years of the MLB? They're 10-0 right now. Best start in the past 30 years. I think the team beat them was the Atlanta Braves in 1984. I think that's the record. 13-0 start. Let's see if the Tampa Bay Rays can top that. Best start in years of any MLB team. Tampa Bay Rays are accomplishing that right now. Didn't know that? Leave that in the comment section. That's about for Didn't Know this week. Now, said earlier, the NBA Award Show right now, Schoolyard Sports, 3rd annual NBA Award Show. We're into like the 4th season NBA in Schoolyard Sports now. We had the NBA bubble. We had the year of the Bucks won the championship. We had the Golden State Warriors championship last year. Now we have this season wrapping up NBA Award Show. Let's hop into it. Who wins MVP? I have Joel Embiid Best player in the NBA, winning MVP. Here's why. Last week, I had him third on my standings. This week, I have him number one. I had Giannis and Nikola Jokic above him. Nikola Jokic had a bad week. Giannis Antetokounmpo didn't do too much. Joel Embiid went out and scored 50 points in a game where his team only scored 103. That's why Joel Embiid's MVP right here. Amazing season. JoJo gets his first MVP. Rookie of the year, Paolo Banchero. No debate about it. I think Bennedict Mathurin had a great rookie season. I used my preseason pick to win Rookie of the Year. Jalen Williams obviously had a great rookie year. Walker Kessler. This is just a really good rookie class in my opinion, but the award goes to Paolo Banchero, star in the making. Defensive player of the year. This year's defensive player of the year is Jaren Jackson Jr. Everybody stepped up when John Morant was out for personal reasons, injuries, all that, and he had a great season. Entering that superstar territory, all-star this season. I love it. Jaren Jackson, Defense Player of the Year. Spartan gets Defense Player of the Year. Coach of the Year, Joe Mazzulla, everybody. If you're told 1 month before the season, I don't care how good your team is, if you're told 1 month before the season, a long-time assistant coach, they're going to be the head coach of an NBA team, especially the Boston Celtics, and you're going to lead them to 50-plus wins, number 2 seed in the East, yeah, you're going to win Coach of the Year. No debate about it. Joe Mazzulla, Coach of the Year. Interim, Coach of the Year. A lot of great candidates right here. You go at JB Bickerstaff, Mike Brown, even Jackie Vaughn, 45 wins with a very depleted roster, and midseason, interim, all that. Jackie Vaughn could have been a pick. I'm sticking with Joe Mazzulla. Most improved player of the year. No debate about it. For my New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson. Everybody been the best player for the Knicks all season long. Better than Julius Randle, in my opinion. I love Jalen Brunson. What a pickup that was for the New York Knicks. I mean, people have said it. This is probably one of the best free agent signings we've seen in a long time. You know, we obviously have great trades. We don't always have great free agent signings. That's what the Knicks are right here. Great free agent signing. Really a diamond in the rough, even though he wasn't, I mean, he's still great, Jalen Brunson. Last season, but this year really came on to things. He's most improved player, Jalen Brunson. No debate about it. And to round it out, who had the best single performance in the game this season? So any game, a lot of great candidates. You could go with Luka Doncic, his 60-point triple-double. Nikola Jokic has some great games. Damian Lillard had 71 points in the game. But I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell's 71-point game. 56 points at one point, and then obviously if they don't call that late, if they call that lane violation, doesn't get to 71. I still love that 71 points from Donovan Mitchell though, because he kind of shocked the world with that 71-point game. Nobody had put up that many points in the game in forever, ever since Devin Booker did it on March 24th in 2016. That was the last time we really saw a crazy game from the player. 71 points, that's ridiculous. That's top 5 all time in a scoring game. Yes, Damian Lillard has 71 points too. I think Donovan Mitchell's, though, just a little bit revolutionary, a little bit game-changing, in my opinion, really showing that it's so easy. If a player wanted to do it, they could go off any given night in the NBA regular season. Playoffs, not so much. Regular season, yes. Damian Lillard one night said, hey, teammates not passing you the ball, I'm going to go out and score 90. Try to score 90 that game, only got 71. But I'm just saying, it could happen. That's what's all right there, Donovan Mitchell. Best single performance of the year, Donovan Mitchell, 71 points. That's about for our NBA award show. All right, let's do a little Houston Rockets spotlight here. But you're saying, why are you doing a spotlight on the Houston Rockets? Here's why. They just fired their head coach, Steven Stiles, and they have a very interesting offseason ahead of them. Everyone thought Jalen Green was going to be his all-world superstar. Jabari Smith didn't really have the greatest rookie season. He might make all-rookie second team. I don't think he's going to make all-rookie first team. He could make all-rookie second team. Kevin Porter Jr., obviously on that awful contract. Let's see how that folds out this offseason. But I want to talk about it. Because I don't know who they're going to hire as head coach. They could hire Frank Vogel. Saw that name being thrown out there. They could hire James Borrego. I also saw that name thrown out there. Former Charlotte Hornets head coach. A few other names. You could go to the college game. You see another NBA head coach leaving a team. I saw even Jason Kidd wanting to leave the Mavericks to go to the Houston Rockets. I don't know if that would happen, but that would be a little bit crazy. That's besides the point, though. I don't care so much on who they hire as the head coach. I care so much on what they do this offseason. Because you have a top 3 pick, no matter what. You have one of the best odds in the NBA, so that means you have one of the best odds of getting maybe the next Tim Duncan and Victor Wembanyama. I think Victor Wembanyama can be amazing. He can have that impact as a rookie. Ridiculous numbers as a rookie, Victor Wembanyama. He will win MVP. He's not going to be the GOAT of basketball, but he will have insane numbers out of France. So here's what I think right here. I've been told from someone in the NBA circle that James Harden could be coming back to the Houston Rockets this offseason. It's been talked about before, but I heard it's a very likely thing to happen that James Harden, regardless of wins the championship, goes to Houston Rockets. I think this is kind of his last-ditch effort. If I win a championship, I win a championship. If I don't, I go back to Houston. I think that might happen right here with James Harden. I think he just goes back to Houston. So theoretically, you could have a lap next season of James Harden at point guard, Jalen Green at shooting guard, who will progress. You get rid of Kevin Porter. You have Jabari Smith Jr. at small forward. Let him progress. You have Alperen Şengün at power forward. It's a pretty good squad for you right there. And then you mix in Victor Wembanyama at center. It's hypothetical. You don't know if you're going to get James Harden. You don't know if you're going to get Victor Wembanyama. But I'm saying there's a very high chance that both those things happen. If you have that roster, let's say it one more time. This is starting five, not a roster. Jalen Green, James Harden, Jabari Smith, Alperen Şengün, and Victor Wembanyama. Who says no? That's a playoff squad in my opinion. I don't care if it's the Western Conference. That is a playoff squad. Leave thoughts on that in the comment section. That's about it for the Spotlight this week. Alright, so I want to introduce a new segment to all Schoolyard Sports viewers, listeners, whether you're watching or listening to this. I want to introduce a new segment. We'll call it the Schoolyard Sports Scoop. You know why we're calling it that? Because I've been getting a scoop on some of these amazing stories these past few days. You can call it what you want. First story, LeBron James going to USC. I think that's going to happen in the next coming days. I've heard that's going to happen in the next coming days from a very reliable source that LeBron James goes to USC. I also said Boogie Ellis would be coming back. Boogie Ellis, of course, announced his return the next day. Next thing I revealed was Mackenzie McGopko, 5-star, going to Duke. I said he would decommit because Kyle Filipowski would come back. This came out of nowhere. Nobody thought this was going to happen. And of course it happened. I reported it 5 days earlier, before the rest of the world got, before all these college basketball reporters. No shame to them. But I'm just saying, Schoolyard Sports, the Schoolyard Sports Scoop, had it first. And the next one, Kyle Filipowski, obviously, I said he'll come back. I'll announce it tomorrow. Announced it next day. Obviously, Kyle Filipowski, big boost to that Duke squad from next season. Really excited for that Duke team next year. Especially, well, next thing, Deron Holmes, I said he would enter transfer portal. Heard that from a very reliable source. That he is entering transfer portal. Might be in the portal at the time of this thing right now. But it will be guaranteed that Deron Holmes, Dayton forward, is in the transfer portal soon. That's my thoughts right there. That's about for Schoolyard Sports Group. So follow Schoolyard Sports on Twitter, at Schoolyard Sport. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Instagram, at Schoolyard Sports. If you want this crazy reliable news, obviously very coming quick at you. Mackenzie McGopko news, nobody had that except for Schoolyard Sports. Cal Filipowski news, Deron Holmes news. Come with us on this wave. Schoolyard Sports, at Schoolyard Sport, whatever you want to call it. Tune in. Now let's do a little around the bases, everybody. MLB segment that we do every single year during the MLB season, around the bases. Let's hop into it. MLB headlines, you could call it that, around the base, just talking about everything in the MLB. I'm going to start out with this. Salt Lake City proposed to MLB today that we want an MLB team. Do you want an MLB team to beat in Salt Lake City? This is where the Utah Jazz play. No NFL team there, but still could be an interesting topic. I don't know how that fits in summertime. I really don't like the idea. I don't know, unless it's on top of a mountain. That could be a really cool view for MLB Stadium. But Salt Lake City, All-Star Weekend was there this year. Nobody really liked it. I don't like that right there. Salt Lake City, MLB team, I say no. I say go after a Vegas team first. Go after a team in Oregon first. Another type of city. I don't love the idea of having a team in Salt Lake City. There's obviously the idea of the Rays having Montreal and Tampa Bay split and split. That could be interesting right there. I think MLB needs to focus on those ideas rather than the Salt Lake City idea right now. Now, let's move to the real news in MLB, the real games we have going on. First thing I want to talk about here is rookies Corbin Carroll and Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker, 12 games into his MLB career, 12-game hitting streak. That's pretty crazy right there. Corbin Carroll played a little bit last year, coming up this year, fastest player in the MLB, already hit some huge dingers, a lot of home runs for him, so great start for these younger rookies right here. Luis Arias for the Miami Marlins, batting .570 right now. This guy was the AL batting champ last year for average in the AL last year. Got traded over to Miami for Pablo Lopez. He's done great so far. He can win MVP with a .570 batting average right now. Really hitting the ball great. Luis Arias, great pick for the Miami Marlins. This team's really improving in all sorts of ways these past few years. Miami Marlins, that rebuild's working out. Love that right there. Tampa Bay Rays, we talked about them earlier in the episode. Obviously, they're undefeated, up 6-1 right now. At the time of this recording, it's Boston Red Sox. That's another dumpster fire in of itself. Tampa Bay Rays, I didn't really expect this. I kind of expected downfall. I expected Rosarena after the WBC. Struggled a little bit. No, he's on fire right now, looking like an MVP candidate. Love that right there out of Tampa Bay Rays. Pete Alonso, most home runs in MLB right now. I love Pete Alonso, maybe my favorite player in the MLB on my favorite team, New York Mets. Most home runs in MLB right now. Mets got a revenge series win against San Diego Padres this week. Obviously, they eliminated them in the playoffs last year, 3-game series. Mets beat them in a 3-game series this year. Love that. Shohei Ohtani, hitting dingers and striking out guys at an insane rate. Looking like he could be another MVP. Shohei Ohtani playing great. And now that's about for Around the Bases this week. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Now, at the buzzer, best for last. This week's at the buzzer. Let's do a little NFL draft talk. NFL draft in the next 2 weeks. Really excited for it. Obviously, biggest thing, maybe one of the biggest episodes we have on Schoolyard Sports every year. We have the big mock draft episode. Really excited for that. But still NFL draft talk. Top 5 players in the NFL draft, regardless of where I think they're going, regardless if I think they're good or not. These are the top 5 overall NFL draft players, regardless of position. I just think if they're going to make an impact, they're going to have a great NFL career. If I had to bet, these top 5 guys are going to have the best NFL careers. Number 1, let's hop into it. Bryce Young, number 1, quarterback, solid. He's going to have a great NFL career. I don't think there's a single player in this class who you say, this guy's a greatest player of all time. He's the GOAT. He's this and that. I don't think there's a guy in this class who is like that. That might come back to bite me, but I'm going to say it right there. There's not a guy in this class who's going to be the greatest of all time. There's going to be Hall of Famers in this class. I think Bryce Young's going to be one of them, but I don't think there is a guy who's going to be best quarterback of all time, best running back of all time, best defense player of all time. I don't see that in this draft class. I just see a lot of solid guys in this draft class, like Bryce Young. Really solid quarterback at Alabama. Has his knocks. I will admit that. I've said that before in the past. I've been critical of him. I still like him, though. Number 1, I think he goes to the Houston Texans. This is not a mock draft. That was just a big board. Number 1, Bryce Young, best player in the NFL draft. Number 2, Will Anderson. Will Anderson, really a great defensive end. Had an up and down year at Alabama, but still, so much raw talent. Really excited for him in the NFL. I want to see him on a solid team, see him win Defensive Player of the Year, see him be the next Nick Bosa, Chase Young. Really excited for Will Anderson. Watch his career. Number 3, Bijan Robinson. This is very high for Bijan, but this is regardless of draft value, regardless of anything. If you're going to have a good career, or if you're not, regardless of position, regardless of draft value, Bijan Robinson is number 3. He's going to go into an NFL team, whatever team it is, and he's going to be a Pro Bowler his rookie year. He's going to have 1,000 yards his rookie year. He's going to have a great 10 to 15-year career, whatever it might be, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer at the end of the day, in my opinion. That's what I like at Bijan Robinson right there, because he's going to be utilized better with an NFL team than he was at Texas. He fits the pro game better than he did the college game. Bijan Robinson, number 3. And don't get me wrong, he was a beast at Texas. Number 4, Jalen Carter. He has his knocks. The personal issues, the war, everything like that. I still think he's a good football player, though. No matter where he goes. Obviously, maturity issues, that will get fixed. Everything like that will get fixed in the NFL. So that's why I like Jalen Carter, number 4. Still raw talent, like Will Anderson. Second best defensive player in this class. I really love Jalen Carter. I might have Tyree Wilson or Miles Murphy going higher than them on a mock draft, but I think at the end of the day, who's the better player? It would be Jalen Carter over all these guys. He's number 4. And number 5, the second quarterback over here, CJ Stroud, hyper accurate, without a doubt. So tall, and you run the ball, he's going to go over to Carolina. Hopefully, he can be a 10 to 15-year starter for them. I think he's going to be a Panther. 10-year, 15th starter, that's great for you right there. Come a Hall of Famer at the end of the day. I see this class having a lot of Hall of Famers. Not a GOAT on any position, but a lot of Hall of Famers. A lot of solid. That's what you want at an NFL draft class. I think these 5 guys, all the potential to make the Hall of Fame. That's a stretch, because these guys haven't stepped foot on an NFL field. I don't care, though. This is my top 5 players in this year's NFL draft, and that's about for At the Buzzer this week. Now, question today. This week's question today is, would you rather have the All-Star game be mid-season like the NBA, or would you rather have it be at the end of the season like the NFL? I'm going to say this right here. You could say you had an all-star season MLB, hit 30 home runs, and then hit 0 home runs in the second half. That's not necessarily a great season. In the NBA, same thing. You can have a great first half, horrible second half. NFL, you can have a great first half, bad second half, you get no accolades. You're not a Pro Bowler, you're not all-pro. That's interesting right there. So, this is an interesting aspect of it. Would you rather have the all-star game at the end of the season or in the middle of the season? There could still be an all-star break, just a break, not really an all-star break in the middle of the season for these sports. I'm kind of preferring the idea about having end of the season, because then you get to evaluate these guys on a full season of work, not necessarily just half season of work, half a body of work for a season. That's my take right there. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. That's about for question day this week. That's about for Schoolyard Sports and Lane Frank, episode 119. Thank you for tuning in. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Instagram at Schoolyard Sports for awesome sports news and content. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Twitter at Schoolyard Sport for breaking news and more content. Follow Schoolyard Sports on TikTok at Schoolyard Sports. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review for the best sports content in the world. We'll be back next week, episode 120. Stay tuned.